So glad to have Misha here. I'm really excited by the work that she's been doing with black ranching families in Texas, telling some stories that are often ignored. If there is a history and a story that needs to be told and hasn't been told enough, the jump is a part of that. Don't get me started. I think it's wonderful. Take it away, Misha.
Let us begin. So on a chilly night in Texas, I find myself jostling for space to interview a black rodeo star against a backdrop of booming announcers and raucous crowds. My mind wanders back several decades prior to when Zora Neale Hurston must have faced similar cacophonies, recording stories, songs, rituals, infused with encoded wisdom passed down from those who toiled this land long before. And as I ponder lineages of anthropologists, of activists, of everyday philosophers keeping legacies alive, the thundering hooves stood the dusty air with exuberant promise of more expansive vistas. From Ken Erickson's lens, unlocking black heritage's untapped insights, to Brian Keeney's excavations of George McJunkins' influential imprints, and Timothy Nelson's wider conceptions of cultural frontiers, today's inquisitions promise profound revelations relevant for the path ahead. I still feel Houston humidity clinging to my neck as rhythmic hoofbeats stir memories of another era's echoes, of Hurston gathering threaded melodies round crackling campfires, bespeaking endurance, outpacing erasure. But new songs stir the dusty arena air, defiant rhythms of whip-smart lyrics illuminating complex identities severed through history into fragments deemed unsavory by some, unexpectedly trailblazing by others. I am here, tracing whispers of dreams deferred yet delivered anew through generations. Dreams called dangerous, not for any violence, but for their capacity to resurrect and rehumanize. I gather the memories of trailblazers rejected from official records, building body upon body, light and shadow, a world of their sons to walk unencumbered. In brushstrokes, bold, muted, glorious, and raw portraits emerge, meeting this charged moment. My mind wanders to first meetings with weather-lined black cowboys who thought they could out-wrangle legendary pioneers, found their stories overwritten for paperback profit, their rich realities muted and mangled despite living legacies anchored through generations, roping on ranges before rodeos raised stadiums or railroads lassoed the plains. Though never forgotten, the sins leaving their ancestors horseless and scourged, still they schooled enthusiastic greenhorns on the land's quirks and old cattle's cantankerous kick. Campfire mentoring past hard-earned wisdom never penned in yellow dime novels, where the boldest, or palest, heroes won winsome maidens' hearts. And so I find myself writing a reckoning of anthropology's heritage intertwined with domination, dehumanization, and dispossession. The Victorian nobleman studying savage customs to justify imperial expansion, the birth of ethnography intricately tied to colonial rule, phrenology and eugenics long used to codify racism within the scientific establishment, seeds sowing contemporary tensions around whose humanity qualifies as grievable. Even Boasian cultural relativism, for all its progressivism, rendered marginalized culture apolitically static. Museums to explore rather than complex civilizations afforded dynamism, self-determination, and futurity. The failure to fully transcend coloniality lingers today in routine othering rehearsed through rigid practices, the anthropologist bestowing legitimacy through native informant selection and cultural representation. Reifying notions of discrete groups to forced intersectional realities of hybrid, fluid identities from structures of necropower dictating whose lives flourish versus fade.